Justin Tucker, the most reliable kicker in NFL history, finds himself in a slump that no one could have predicted.
29. And the extra point by Tucker collides with the upper. Here's Tucker. And that kick. Wide left. Oh. Your thoughts for the lead. Tucker's got a hook. This time wide right.
In Sunday's 24-19 loss to the Eagles, Tucker missed 2 critical field goals and an extra point, a total of 7 points left on the table. It's the first time in his 13-year career that he's missed 3 kicks in a single game. For most kickers, that might be a rough day, but this is Justin Tucker. This is legend, the GOAT, one of the GOATs, right? Up there with Vinatieri. And we're talking about now that same guy whose struggles are actually affecting his team's season. This is a legitimate storyline that is now affecting the possibility of not just any season, of not just any Ravens team, but one that was probably going to go, one that was probably going to have high hopes, expectations of making it to the Super Bowl. And here we are talking about the one guy on that team for years and years who was a non-factor or a non-worry. You never had to be concerned about whether he was going to make it. In fact, you were more thinking that if we just get it to field goal range, if we just get it to a place where it's within Justin Tucker's range, he's going to drill it and he's going to make it, right? And these past couple of games have not just been one bad game or just a little bit of a fluke. This has been Justin Tucker all season. He's already missed, 8 field goals already, which is the most he's missed in a single year, right? And his conversion rate is down to a career low of 70%, I think it is. So to put that in perspective, again, Justin Tucker has been the gold standard of consistency for not just the Ravens, but for a lot of kickers out there, right? Vinatieri, he is on a Mount Rushmore of his own when it comes to kicking, right? But Justin Tucker could arguably be right there. And for years, he's the guy you could count on, whether it's a chip shot or record-breaking 66-yarder to win a game. But now it's like every field goal attempt is like a roll of the dice. And that's a situation that the Ravens have never faced before with Tucker. And so, this is a very interesting scenario here of what to do. Do you bench him? Do you put him on IR? What do you do? How do you find another kicker that you can trust as much as Justin Tucker here? And I think it's a really, really tough situation for them to navigate through. And if you think about it, though, it's more than just about Tucker making kicks and his struggles. It's more than just about a kicker making kicks. It impacts the entire team. Because if you think about it, if you're Lamar and you're the Ravens offense and you know that Justin Tucker's not making these kicks consistently or just to the level that any kicker on any team is making, how do you approach drives now knowing that, right, your field goals are not automatic anymore? There's now added pressure to convert on third downs, to push harder for touchdowns in the red zone. 2-point conversions to take fewer risks when in the play calling. So it's not just about losing 3 or 6 points or that extra point. It's really losing that psychological edge you have when you have a kicker that you can just trust, right? Just it's there. This is like college football is where you're concerned about the kicker making the extra point after a touchdown, right? College football is the one where you're concerned about, can he make this 40-yarder, 43-yarder. College football is where that happens. In the NFL, you shouldn't have to worry about that, and let alone when you are one of the GOATs, when you are labeled as one of the GOATs in the kicking game, like Justin Tucker is. It is a really massive issue, I think, that the Ravens are facing right now. Should the Ravens consider benching him? I think that's a fair question. I think when you look at how costly his misses have been this season, right? Let's just pause for a second, think about again, who we're talking about holds the record for the longest field goal ever made. Same guy who just 3 years ago was hitting at I think a 90% percentage rate, right? I think so. I have to double check that, but he's considered one of the greatest of all time. Again, Vinatieri is up there, but it's hard to think are you going to bench the GOAT right now after a few bad games? And look, credit to Harbaugh. He John Harbaugh is not right now he's sticking with Justin Tucker. He's not going to bench him, and I think he's kind of made it clear that like Tucker's job is not necessarily in jeopardy, at least not yet, right? So because in the game, in the post game after Sunday's loss, he was asked if they're going to move on from him, and he's not really planning on doing that right now. So
help guys to be successful, so and we'll do that. I mean, if you're asking me if we're going to move on from Justin Tucker, I'm not really planning on doing that right now. I don't think that'd be wise. But he'll tell you, he'll be the first to tell you he needs to make many kicks as he can, and I just think if you look at Justin Tucker's history, you'd have to say he's capable of doing that, So, but that's something that he's going to want to do, and I know we're all going to want him to do it.
Personally, I don't think it'd be like, I think it'd be too soon, right? Like if you're going to bench him right now, I think it would be a little too soon. But you have to at least have something in the wings. You have to have something in the planned out. If you are going to bench him, maybe start shopping around, looking around to see what options you have. But I do think that right now it would just be a little too early, but I could be wrong, I just think you look at that Eagles game, if he makes those kicks, I think the game's a different story, right? And so if you do look back, Tucker has bounced back from slumps before. If you look back in 2015, he missed 7 field goals in a season, which at the time was considered a career low. And then what did he do the following year? He went out and hit, I think, like 97% of his kicks, including 10 from beyond 50. So, like, you got to think about it too. Like, that's what elite players like him do. They find a way to turn things around. And who knows? He's probably battling something, maybe an injury, maybe something like that. You don't really always know, because if you just look at his kicks, especially that Eagles game, he missed, I think, was it 1 or 2? But he missed. It kept going left. And then when he tried really compensating for that, it went pretty far right. And so there's something there. I don't, you hear what Bill Belichick has to say, and he says Justin Tucker doesn't really look like someone who has missed or lost power or anything like that. It could be, I don't know, a technique thing or just execution thing. But here's a flip side I think you have to look at, right? The NFL is definitely a what have you done for me lately kind of league, right? You can see that with everyone, right? You can be good at 1 year. Saquon got traded or he got let go by the Giants. Derrick Henry got let go by the Titans. I mean, these guys are all-timers right now, and you look at what they've done for the Eagles. I'm sorry, you look what Saquon's done for the Eagles and Henry's done for the Ravens. And so no one really is, jobs, is secure in terms of never being traded or let go or whatever. Hell, Peyton Manning even got let go, right? So if you just look at his struggles, and if they continue into the postseason or worse, like if they cost the Ravens a playoff game, oh man, I mean, it's going to get loud with the fans. It's going to get loud with sports media, but I do think that it's something hopefully they fix by the postseason. You just really would hate to see Justin Tucker missing field goals costing a playoff game. Like, what if we're at fourth quarter, it's 21-20 or whatever it is, and all it takes is just this field goal, this 40-yard field goal, and the Ravens can make the Super Bowl, or Ravens can win the Super Bowl. You don't know, right? Like, it just takes that much. Like, God, imagine if he misses it, right? Imagine if he misses it, and like, it is so concerning to see him go through this right now. And I just feel like it's, his kicks are always automatic. And again, like Belichick talked about it, how his kicks were always like a pure ball straight down the middle. And what you're seeing right now is it always just like going left, going right. And so that's what to me is a concern of how his kicks are being missed. And, I think hopefully they'll figure it out. I mean, Tucker himself said like they're going to turn over every stone, address any and all issues they have with his technique and everything like that. So, look, the Ravens need to focus on everything, right? Snap timing, hold placement, Tucker's mechanics, right? Everything that could be contributing to these misses. And, I think he just has to do what he's done his entire career, right? Just adjust, focus up and just kind of stick to it. And again, guys like him, just goats at their position. It's got to be tough on them, right? To kind of go through this, but he's not who he is without like being able to go and work through these kind of problems and things like that. So I honestly feel like they're gonna figure it out. I think that like if anything else, if nothing else, Harbaugh's gonna have a way to kind of scheme around it, and who knows, maybe they're gonna start to go for 2 point conversions a little bit more, or try to really go for it on maybe fourth down if they're in field goal range, and just to try to at least work around him not being able to really be consistent yet. But again, that is not something as a team, like elite teams play complementary football, and that includes offense, defense, special teams. You got to be able to trust that if you're in field goal range and it's a gotta have kick, that Justin Tucker is going to have it. And for right now, it's something that definitely up in the air, right? I think that's a really tough situation to figure it out, and it's something that as we get this point in the season, and again throughout the entire season, it's been a little bit up in the air with how he's played. So I think that's a tough one to figure out, and we'll see what happens with them. But personally, I feel like stick with Tucker for a little bit. Definitely keep your options open. Keep the eyes. If you're management, general manager, whatever, look around to see what other options you've got. But I think you can't. I don't know. You can't give up on Tucker too easily or too soon. But there is a clock here. I think there is a clock that's ticking, and he's got to figure it out.